Kia ora, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. We're really excited to be presenting to you today. So thanks so much for taking the time to dial in. My name is Lynette and I'm part of the graduate experience team at KPMG. We also have Emma on the call. You might have heard from her in the panel earlier. So yeah, me and her make up the team. In this session, I'm going to quickly speed through a bit of our recruitment process and a little bit about KPMG. And then I've got some awesome members of our team to talk through their journey so far with KPMG as well. And we might get some extra time at the end for some questions, hopefully. So yeah, I'll go to the next slide. So very exciting. We've opened up our roles at a similar time to Deloitte for 2022 interns. So they start in November, 12 weeks, 12-week program, and 2023 graduates. So they'll start, next March. And the teams that I've got listed here, if you're not sure about sort of what teams you're interested in, feel free to reach out to us on LinkedIn afterwards. Otherwise, our careers website has lots of great videos explaining. So yeah, we've got 7 offices nationwide, our biggest one being Auckland, closely followed by Wellington, but sort of everywhere in between. A lot of our staff work sort of, they might do a couple of weeks at the other offices during the week, so during the year, so you're able to, flex a lot. We also have 1,500 staff and this is growing all the time. Right, so globally, you may know that we are part of a global network. We've got loads of staff over 152 countries, and in known COVID times, we do offer short or long-term secondments. We have great relationships with lots of other KPMGs around the globe. So we do have a team that's working really hard to get those up and running as well. All right, so these are just some of the qualities that we do look for on your CV, but they're not the be all and end all. Just shouting out a couple of those. Teamwork is really important at KPMG. You'll hear from our team that we're big on collaboration and with clients and colleagues as well. Communication skills, communicating with your clients and your colleagues as well, and enthusiasm. So we want to see that you're really enthusiastic to work for us in your application and throughout the process. Right, and sorry about that. Probably the most important slide, the steps to join our whānau. So firstly, we would want you to do some research. We want you to take the time to work out if we are the right employer for you. You've taken a great first step by coming along to this information session today. Our KPMG LinkedIn page and our website is also a really good source of information, but you really can't beat networking with people that work within KPMG. Or coming along to things like this. Then you would apply online through our website. We don't actually ask for a cover letter, which I think is a great perk, but instead we do ask a long answer question about what you can bring to KPMG. We have a minimum word count for this, which we highly recommend you stick to. So yeah, we can really see your enthusiasm there. And we ask for your CV and an unofficial transcript. You will then be asked to complete a video interview and some online questions. So the online questions, I guess, similar to what Deloitte spoke about. So they'll be numerical, abstract, situational, and verbal. It will take around 20 minutes to complete. And then once we have the results from that, your application will be passed on to our hiring teams. Then you'll be either asked to attend a one-to-one interview, depending what team you are applying for, or an assessment centre. So our assessment centre involves a case study where you'll complete a SWOT analysis and you'll do some teamwork with some other candidates. You will do a small presentation and then a one-to-one interview with some of the team. And yeah, so it's quite, it sounds like a really long process, but it does only take ideally 2 to 3 weeks. We do have a slight delay at the moment because we're seeing a huge volume of candidates come in. But yeah, we aim to get back to you after the interview or assessment day within 24 to 48 hours. If you are successful, you will receive an offer, and if you are unsuccessful, you will receive an email with quite a bit of feedback on and the opportunity to have a call from myself or Emma with some further feedback as well. We don't want you to be deterred if you are unsuccessful, because a lot of our grads do get in the second or third time applying as well. All right, so that's enough from me. We do have some awesome members of our team along with me, and they will chat a bit more about their journey. So Angel, are you online?
Yep, I'm here.
Awesome, thanks.
Cool. Sorry, I just wasn't expecting to go first.
Oh no, that's all right.
Hi team, my name is Angel. I'm a third year graduate and I work in the private enterprise division here at KPMG. Um, Basically, my job is heavy accounting. It's pretty much everything except for audit. And a lot of our clients in private enterprise are our SMEs. So typically your small, medium-sized businesses. But we also do quite a bit of work with high net worth individuals, which are always really fun, the millionaires. You can kind of see what they're doing with their money. And we deal with different kinds of trusts and charities and all of that sort of stuff too. So we're kind of split into two sides. You've got the pure compliance side of accounting, and that's kind of like preparing your financial statements, your tax returns, GST and fringe benefit tax returns, all of that sort of stuff. So you get to use like the pure accounting knowledge you would have learned through uni in that side. And then we've also got the advisory piece, which is we do a lot of tax advisory or workshops with the client. Sometimes they come to us and say like, hey, we want to end up here in 10 years time. Can you tell us what we need to do to be able to get there? Or sometimes it's other things like, hey, we don't know our mission statement. Can you run a workshop with us to be able to find out what that is? And then can we align like our business operations with that? So we have the pure accounting side, but there's also that advisory piece, which I think is, it's a nice balance between the two. So I get to do quite a wide range of stuff in the private enterprise division. What's one of the other questions? How do I use my degree? How I use my degree. So when I left uni, I actually thought that I had forgotten everything that I learned. So coming into KPMG, I kind of felt like I knew nothing. But a lot of the learning that we do is on the job. And I think as long as you're familiar with the concepts that you would have done in your university papers, then you kind of just continue to build on that knowledge as you go through as a graduate. And there's a whole lot of support systems internal to KPMG, like you get assigned a buddy. So if you've got a question and you think it's a dumb question and you don't want to like look bad in front of the managers, there's a buddy who's typically a second year or third year graduate, and you can kind of just go to them with all of those questions that you might be a bit more shy to ask someone more senior. So there's like little support systems in place like that, so that you don't actually feel like you're kind of just thrown in the deep end and left on your own. What else do we have? What do I find most rewarding about my job? I like learning. And that's something that I've always been doing a lot of at KPMG. I think it's a really humbling experience. Like you kind of think that you know stuff and you're not, like, I don't know, you feel like you know quite a bit, and then you join and you start to learn, and then you realize like, oh, I kind of know nothing. So I enjoy being able to use the skills and all of those, all of the knowledge that I paid a lot of money to go to uni for. And now I can still learn and I get paid to learn, which is always fun as well. I think a top tip for me for someone looking to apply to KPMG is probably just to be yourself. I think that the old school idea of that corporate mold is shifting. And so places like KPMG really value more than your good grades and your ability to network. So it's don't be afraid to really leverage those other skills and experiences that you've gotten throughout uni and also just throughout your life. Yeah, and really push those in your application, and don't be afraid to be yourself. I think that's something that we really value here. And yeah, that's pretty much me.
Thanks, Angel. Such a great top tip for everyone listening. Olivia, you're okay to go next?
Yeah, Hey guys, I'm Olivia and I work in the Audit, Corporates and Enterprises division. So our Auckland audit team is split up into 4 sub-teams. We have our 2 support teams, D&I and Tech Risk, who facilitate our data analysis and technology test work. Then we have our financial services team, which Tane will touch on, but they cover all banks, insurers and funds, whereas our C&E team cover everything else. In audit, you spend a lot of time at different clients' offices and work closely with the client. Our work revolves around testing the accounts of a firm's financial statements, and it's very Excel based. But don't worry if you only know how to use a sum formula. You'll pick up everything in training and on the job. Working on many clients gives you a lot of exposure to different industries and allows you to make valuable working relationships. I really enjoy the travel associated with being an auditor. I've travelled from Whangarei to Invercargill and also managed to pop over the ditch to Tasmania last year, all for stock counts. I also really enjoy the team culture. People at KPMG are so friendly, and it truly makes all the difference being able to work in a supportive team environment. I studied accounting and finance, and my accounting degree enables me to understand the testing we perform and how to validate whether the client's calculations are correct when testing different sections of a company's accounts. But most importantly, your degree teaches you how to work effectively in a team, which is incredibly valuable in all the work you do as an auditor, and really in any role at KPMG is team oriented. My top tip for your applications is not to stress if you get rejected. Take the experience and the feedback as a lesson, and it will better prepare yourself for the next round, and something great will come around. And saying that, it's best to get your applications in early to make sure you have plenty of time to go through this process. And yeah, I wish you guys all the best for your applications.
Thanks, Olivia. Another great top tip, and also good point to apply early. We did open our applications on the 7th and we are closing this round on the 15th of April. So make sure you get in before the 15th. Tane, are you ready?
Kia ora, yeah, I'm ready. So I'm Tane. As Olivia said, I work in the financial services side of audit. So looking at banks, insurers, sort of finance companies and stuff like that. So the work that we do is quite similar to the C&E side, except we just don't deal with things like, usually we don't deal with things like inventory, so we don't do stock takes or anything like that, which is a little bit different from your normal auditor. One of the most enjoyable things I find about my job is pretty much just the support structure that we have. So I think Angel touched on it a little bit just before. It's just like you're never left alone. Basically, everything that we do at KPMG is within a team. And within that team, you generally have people that are at different stages of their professional career as well. So you have people to ask questions, and then you have like really experienced team members that can offer insights and also some guidance as well into areas that you should like focus a bit more on areas where you can improve. So there's always that there's that constant sort of learning that's also been touched on that you move through in your career. So I studied accounting at uni, and that kind of has helped a lot in audit purely around the sort of foundations that you learn throughout the sort of accounting degree, dealing with lots of different industries and different clients. There's lots of different sort of jargon that they all use, and you kind of pick up a little bit of these things in uni, and it just helps to already have that sort of foundational knowledge when you're talking to clients about specific areas. And then another big part of our job is kind of the interpretation of different accounting standards. So the sort of processes that you learn at uni, so it's just the whole thing of like working through issues and stuff like that also comes in quite handy. One of the top tips that I would have for someone joining KPMG is just make sure that you kind of bring your authentic and whole self to the recruitment process. One of the things that because we're such a sort of team orientated and team-based business, we like to make sure that people are like genuine and they're interested in their roles and stuff like that. So it's really nice to see in sort of the recruitment stuff that, you know, we're dealing with people. So that's probably one of the biggest tips that I could give. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, everyone. That was a great, great to hear your journeys. We have a few minutes for questions, I think about 3 minutes. And I see there is one in the chat about quickly outlining deal advisory and risk consulting. So our deal advisory team, they look at sort of like your high risk transactions. There's lots of teams within deal advisory, but things such as insolvency, mergers and acquisition, and all of the things in that sort of realm. And our risk consulting, similar to management consulting, but they look more at like your regulations and things like that. If you head to actually our Grad New Zealand site, we do have some videos on there from some of our team in deal advisory and risk consulting explaining their day-to-day. If anyone else had any other questions? We'll be on for another 2 minutes.
There's one that came through from Jay in the Q&A. Not sure if that's been
Q&A.
Yes, but basically, can international students apply for your graduate roles?
Yes, yes, definitely. If you will need to have the right to live and work in New Zealand though. So if you're currently on a study visa, you will need to be able to apply and receive that post-study work visa. So yeah, that's sort of all we look for there. I also see when will we hear back after submitting our assessments? Relatively quickly. There is a little bit of a delay at the moment just because of the volume we are processing, but yeah, ideally, I mean, a couple of days after you've completed the assessments at the What advice would you give to medical health science students seeking to apply for non-accounting related departments? Oh, that's a tough one. I'm not really sure. I guess if you were solely focused, Emma, are you on the call? Do you think our consulting team might take?
Yeah, I was just going to try jump in here. It is a bit of a hard one. But yeah, definitely probably consulting would be the team that you'd be looking for. Consulting tend to take much more of a wide range of degrees coming through. And I think Linnea touched on at one point that consulting is really just about going into different clients and sort of problem solving and making them be more efficient and help them with any sort of issues that they're having. So if you think that can sort of apply to some of our clients, absolutely. The other team that we do sometimes take sort of health science or medical students coming through is our innovation and growth team, and they deal with helping clients get research and development grants. So the team are often doing research for those clients. So could be worth looking into that team as well.
Perfect. Oh, well, that probably brings us to the end of it. Huge shout out to Angel, Tane, and Olivia for your awesome insights from the grad perspective. And of course, big shout out to the dynamic duo of Linnea and Emma for their awesome words as well. Thanks again for coming along today and sharing some great information about KPMG.
Amazing. Thanks, Taylor. And thanks everyone for joining. If you wanted to reach out with any questions, feel free to add us on LinkedIn as well.